Now let's look at, you have been a full stack developer, or you have been a developer who has been there in the industry for a few years. What are the advanced skills that I need to now grow to make myself into, say, a senior developer, to a lead developer, right? Or how a company can value me as I grow into my career. So here are some of them. First is a multi-threading concept. Now this is focused on Java. I am more giving, but then multi-threading is a common across industry with there are several places where multi-threading is important, and Java is definitely one of them. What I mean by multi-threading is multiple requests keeps coming in. When you are building an enterprise-based application, you will have requests coming in at multiple times. At that point of time, you should be able to handle them properly. And multi-threading is very important when you are actually coding in some of the languages like Java. Memory handling is another key area, because every resource has limited memory, and you have to ensure the memory is well managed. Otherwise, if you are storing too many things in memory, you can soon get into a problem where you will run out of memory. So this is an area which you have to get better at as you move into an advanced skill set. DB optimization, database again gets into issues. Queries will run slow if you are fetching large records, an area that you need to definitely master. Security, as I said, can't emphasize enough with security. This is a big problem in the industry with people coming in with the limited knowledge, and they do a lot of stuff out of their curiosity, but then they leave a lot of security loopholes, which later as the program goes, and there are definitely hackers around who will find your way into the system, and that would be really a disaster. So if you are security aware from day one, it's not just advanced, I would say it should be part of basic, but as an advanced developer, security is one area which you should always be concerned about. As we grow, solutions is important. So solution architecture comes into picture. Deployment architecture is another area, because solution architecture is when you are thinking in terms of giving the solution and how, what will remain in the front end, what will be in the back end, how are you solving to the end user problem. In a deployment architecture, now you're thinking of how that application is to be deployed in the server, so that when one system fails, you can pick up another, another part of the area can pick up and run. So deployment is another important, because at the end, even though you have the best solution, if you have not deployed it properly, your end user will never be able to see the benefit. It will still be slow. It might still have problems which the end user may not be able to use it. So extremely important about deployment as well. And design for high volume. Suppose you are becoming a point where you have 1,000 to 10,000 users, and then your site suddenly becomes hit and then 1 million user comes in. Have you ever thought about how you are going to design the site or the system for that much of volume? So this is a completely different ball game where you have to think a lot and then build it in a way that it's able to serve for extremely high volume, or even a high volume of 1,000 users are also quite high when you're starting up. So these are areas you need to think. Yeah, I come to my last slide of Q&A. So thanks, and over to you, Shruti. I'm happy to take questions.
Sure, thank you very much. That was interesting, very crisp and very clear. So we do have questions. So one of them, I'll start reading them one by one so you can take them. Sure. Can a person from non-IT who has not had any experience or education in IT start learning full stack development?
Okay, it's a very, very interesting, and thanks for bringing that question. And I have heard this question, many a times across from different people. Now the answer is yes and no. If you depends upon you. Why it's typically difficult for a completely non-IT background to pick up an IT topic and even get into full stack is because you're not used to the IT ways of thinking or development, and it's just not one area. You have to learn quite a lot of areas to be productive, and I have seen it is sometimes challenging, and because I have hired people and I have seen the challenges that they face sometimes. So you get into a caution state. But then if it is yes for people who are generally good in IT, I mean, they are today into non-IT because of other reasons, but then they play games, or they even write pseudocodes sometimes, or they are good in Python and they write their own codes. So such people who are used to programming, but they just never got into the IT field, for them, it's probably easy for them. It is like they never really took into the programming line and that's a pick it up. So, but get into with caution. If you never have coding, never have done coding, you're just looking at your friends and you feel that, oh, this is a nice place, maybe I can get into it. Come with a lot of caution. The first problem I've seen, and you would be surprised to note, is people who come in and say, I've never sat in a system for so many hours, 8 hours. How do you even do it? Right? But for IT people, it's like sitting 8 hours is like, it's a daily thing. We all sit for 8 hours. I mean, what I would say, we sit for 20 hours a day, right? For us, it is a natural thing because we are used to sitting in a system for so long. But for people non-IT, maybe you are in the field for 7-8 hours is fine. But for you, sitting in a system for an hour feels challenging. So keep your knowledge, few things in mind, and you will do good if you take in that decision.
Sure. So if I could summarize what you just said, what you mean is it is good to have some kind of a coding knowledge, even if they do not have a specific degree in computer science.
Yes. Yes.
That kind of temperament and to be, have some kind of exposure to IT, I think is necessary. Even if they do not have a complete degree, it doesn't have to be a BTech computer science.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you. I think that answers a few questions. Second question is, which technologies and languages would you need to develop a project from scratch? I know it's a kind of vague question. I'm not sure who asked it. It's anonymous. But yeah, if you could throw some light on it.
Fine. So you can use any language. It is not restricted to a specific language. So Java is a good language to start with. It has got front end. You can use HTML, CSS, and build a good front end JavaScript application and connect with a Node.js or Java in the middle tier. And for databases, I will prefer if you use MySQL, all completely free. All you can do, just build even Hello World or start something with small and then grow along. I will encourage you do application end-to-end and write something that gives you a flavor of end-to-end flow. That way you can understand the different languages and nuances of each one. But yeah, don't get limited by languages. It's more about understanding the flow. It's more about how the flow, from where and which system the request is going and hitting and coming back. It is that understanding that is important.
Right. Okay, so we have another question about deployments. You spoke about the knowledge of deployment also being necessary. So again, anonymous, but he wants to know more about what that aspect means.
Deployment, right? Good. So deployment is important to a point where, see, once you build an application, you need to deploy the application into an environment where it is going to run. If you just build it locally and you run it, you are the only person who is going to use it. When you deploy it, it's the time when others are able to see the application. I believe you know that difference. Second thing is, as you deploy it, this is called as DevOps area. DevOps. This is a new term, of course, long back, but now it is common in the parlance, is development plus operations. You are getting into the DevOps area. Another very interesting area which you can build your technology into. There are tools like Jenkins, which helps you to do an auto deployment and then run it. At this point of time, you're now thinking in terms of, I've already built the code, right? How I can run it, how the end user can see it, how well it can be deployed, which means changes, how frequently I can put it in the production. It is a knowledge about these areas. So a very exciting field, but again, it comes out after you have built it. Post building, the deployment comes into picture.
Sure, thank you. Next question, I am transitioning into being a software developer. Is it better for me to learn full stack or focus on one of the technologies?
To watch the full Odin Talks video, click on the link in the description.